ZvT is the focus tonight, but any questions are welcome. I noticed that Machine has an interesting hotkey setup. Could you get him to elaborate, please?
Alright, I don't think this is very great, by the way, but it's kind of just what I got used to. My hotkey setup is 1 through 4 units, 5 through 7 hatcheries, and then sometimes if I'm dealing with some sort of like early Banshee harass or something, I'll put my queens on 0. Basically, I like to hotkey my units in order of which I'm going to be attacking them with. So tanking units like Roaches, Zerglings, Ultralists are always going to be 1. 2 is always going to be Banelings for the most part. Banelings or like Hydralists, like anything that would be following the tanking units. 3 is always my Mutalisks, and 4 is like heavy tech units like Broodlords or Infestors, things like that. 5 is always going to be my main hatchery, 6 is always going to be my natural hatchery, and 7 is a universal hatchery hotkey, whereas everything from there on I just put on 7. I don't think this is best, so don't copy it. It's just something that I got used to, and I'm pretty bad at switching hotkeys once I'm used to something.
Yeah, it's a Brood War habit, I'm sure.
Yeah, if I could go back, though, I would definitely hotkey my queens. Like each queen per base, just to make spawning larvae a bit easier. Another thing, I don't know if you heard about it, but the new patch that's coming up, they're allowing for custom hotkeys.
Very excited for that.
Yes, backspace is definitely going to be my tilde key, and I'm definitely going to be adding a universal queen hotkey, so I'm looking forward to it.
That is... I didn't know you could make a universal queen hotkey. That's going to be insane. That'll probably be W for me.
Oh, you think so?
Do we use W for anything else as a Zerg player? I can't think of anything.
No, I don't think so, actually.
I mean, it's kind of the warp gate button, so...
oh,
alright.
wow, that's a really good way to put it, yeah.
Let's go back to questions. As for now... Okay, Machine, what would you suggest for people who have lower than 80 APM? How should they focus on improving? How should they focus on improving, and what should they do to force themselves to improve?
When I was first trying to become much faster, it's something that you actually have to consciously change, whereas most other things, it just comes with time. Like, you will eventually get faster, but you won't get the 200 APM that, you'd probably be looking for to be a pro gamer. It's something that you have to say, you start setting numbers. If your average APM is something like 40 or 50, you want to say, okay, this game I'm going to spam, and I'm just going to be selecting hatcheries, selecting drones, selecting my overlords, and I'm going to try and get 60 APM this game. And then eventually, as you get up to that, you want to just keep doing it and keep doing it. And the reason why, a lot of people say you don't want to spam, yeah, I agree. Having a bunch of useless actions, it can hurt your game. But eventually, what you want to do is just get your hands so that they can actually react that fast, and then start, they'll start actually changing to conscious actions. Like, you won't just be selecting drones. You'll start microing much better. You'll start running through all of your hatcheries much quicker just by kind of adding in that reaction, like the muscle memory of being able to move that fast. So, just start setting goals for yourself and slowly start improving, and you'll definitely get it eventually.
All right. I'm getting a couple messages from people being like, "Oh my God, he's so fast." How fast do you think you need to be to play StarCraft 2?
Well, there's some very, very good players that aren't really that quick. Right, the first one that pops off the top of my head is Axlav. E.G. Axlav is a very strong player in all regards, but he's only around 100 APM or so, which is still pretty quick, but it's not considered quick to, some of the top players in the world.
Right.
If I had to say a number to where, like, it wouldn't be hurting your game anymore if you're any lower than that, I'd say around 130 actions or so is like a pretty solid number. Like 130 APM is pretty good.
Okay. Good goal for us non-pro players for the time being, I guess.
Yep.
Okay. All right. How about this? The game you just played. If he transitions to Thors and not tanks, how do you respond?
Cut muta production. I would start, switching to roaches instead of those mutalisks, and then I would start upgrading my infestor tech, my pathogen glands and neural parasite.
Okay. How come you got no infestors against Marine tank?
I will eventually, but I like to kind of build up my mutalisk numbers first, and then I kind of transition them in. I think it's good, so don't get me wrong. I just, I don't know. Because the game that he did do it, are you talking about the cross map game where I was 6 and he was 12?
Well, I was talking about the game
Or
you
just
just
that last
played
game?
specifically, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. He didn't just go straight Marine tank. It was like Hellions, Hellion drop, and so I needed to get Mutalisk first, and so my Infestor tech had to be delayed because of it. And so I guess that's why. It was just delayed.
Okay. Okay, here's a question. What videos were you talking about when you said that you do recordings for Gosu Coaching?
For Gosu Guide, actually. www.gosuguide.com is a website that myself and Jeff in Control, we host videos for, and we basically just teach StarCraft. And you can basically buy a guide that will kind of describe how to become a top professional gamer in StarCraft 2 specifically. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Okay, coming back to that last game we just played. Say that you're, instead of facing Marine tank, you're facing Banshees, Thors, tanks, and Marines. How does that dynamic change? Does it still just sprinkle in infestors? I know it's like we're building on the same question, but I mean it's like every time that you add a new unit, it sort of changes the dynamic of your unit comp.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, you want to just kind of distribute maybe in more infestors and then hydralisks, as we talked about before. Just add in a few hydralisks, but that's where it gets very complicated because you have to make sure that you're controlling each section of units specifically. You know, for the hydralisks to target down the Banshees, the roaches to target down the Thors and the mech, and then infestors to neural and fungal.